Welcome to the next room. Yeah. Welcome to the next room. From the field on my way to the next room. Welcome to the next room.
Welcome back to another episode of Next Row. I'm your host, Vernon Davis. Look, this guest I have here, this man played professional football in the NFL, and now he's an actor. He's doing big things, huge things. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Isaac Keys.
What's up? What's up, Vernon? What's going on, man? Glad to be here, brother.
Man, look, man, you're a hard man to catch. Everything. Look, man, you done had so many things take off in your life, man. Unbelievable. To me, when I look at your life, I kind of look at it like, I don't know, it's almost as if you've been born again. You got drafted again. You know what I mean? A lot of people got dreams that they'll never achieve, but you've been doing it. You've done it in football. You're doing it now. What's new? What's going on? What's new in your life right now, Isaac?
Everything is new. Every day I wake up, I feel like I'm, trying to get involved in something new. But like you mentioned, about the dreams, it's like, I feel like people strive their life to live one dream, but I've been blessed to be able to live two, as you mentioned, football, and now, into acting. New show coming, the final season of Power Book 4 Power Book 4, final season 3 coming out November 7th. Drop that in there for everybody. Everybody's been anticipating and waiting for it. But, I would say, but people don't always know the story. They see these things, and you understand this. They see what the accomplishments, but they don't see the work, and they don't understand the story that goes into it behind it unless we tell it. And I think that's important. That's why we're doing this podcast here. But I also think it's important that we tell our stories, so people can relate to it.
Man, that's powerful, man. You grew up in St. Louis, man. You balanced baseball and football as a kid. Was there ever a moment where you thought, like, this is it? Like, I'm going to make it in either one of these, either baseball or football?
No, I never did. I started off in baseball. Like, I never thought I was going to make it to the upper epsilon, the highest level of NFL, playing in the NFL. Or I loved baseball. I loved football. I was better in baseball growing up. I started when I was 5 years old, and I played on every select team, fall baseball team, AAU, whatever team I could play on, I played on coming up. And I had the support of my parents and my family, particularly my father, who would get down on his knees to catch my crazy fastball, take me to the batting cages, buy that expensive bat and glove all that time, but I know that wasn't easy for him to do. He was working his ass off trying to make sure he could help me live my dreams. Football came into play. Was just out there, the athlete. I wasn't just homed into a position. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't playing the same position all the way up. I was just, just playing the game and learning the game. But, as we know, football is the game of life. Sports is the game of life. They teach you how to fall down, get back up. They teach you how to work together as a team with your teammates. They teach you how to deal with adversity, of losses, being hurt. Also just being how to be coached by various coaches that you may not get along with, or teammates that you may not get along. Sports is like the world. You all come together. If you all come together for a common goal, you can be successful. But if you divide it, then it causes chaos.
No, that's powerful. That's powerful.
Yeah.
You went to Morehouse. From your years in Morehouse, what's a piece of advice that you still carry with you today?
I think a piece of advice that I got from Morehouse is make a way out of no way. And I say that is because Morehouse is a prestigious school, known for academics, not known for athletics. I ended up there circumstantially. I walked on for football. I wanted to play football, but coming out of high school, I wasn't recruited. These people think that you're in the NFL, that you probably got a scholarship, coming out of high school, or, you got recruited top of your class and all that. No, I played center, offensive line on my high school's football team my senior year, because the coach decided to move me from linebacker to playing center to help the team. It may have helped the team, which it did, but it didn't help me. At least not getting recruited going into college. So I say all to say, because we don't have much time, I got something coming out later on for everybody to be able to check out, where I can really get into the story. Out of Morehouse, it just taught me, to make a way out of no way, meaning that learning how to network, learning not being able to have certain things, certain resources that you need to find a way to make it happen. Just because you don't have a computer, you still need to get that paper done. You know what I mean? You need to find a way. if you don't have, some of the resources for us at the time, I'm old now. So like the internet wasn't cracking like that then when I was in college. So was that you better find a way, go to the library, pull that book out, find where it is, do the research, put in that work. You have to make things happen. I learned that in college that people are not going to tell you how, when to get up and go to class. They're not going to tell you all these things. So you need to make sure that you want it bad enough for yourself because you got to be accountable on yourself, not anybody else.
You got to be accountable, just like you got to be like being accountable is being proactive and taking the necessary steps. Like you wouldn't be where you are today if you wasn't proactive. But they say a lot of who we are as football players goes into the next phase of our career, like the next role, in
Sure.
which you've proven to be true.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you've always had to prove yourself? What was a prove it moment where you were at Morehouse? You know what I mean? You had to rise to the ranks. Like, what was that prove it moment for you?
Hey, Vernon, I came out of the womb having to prove myself straight up. Uh, as we mentioned, walking on to college and then walking onto a football team. And I think the proving moment was that I never was afraid of hard work. And, these are learned behaviors. You have to learn. You don't come out just knowing how to do this. Learn behaviors and also the people that you keep around you that can also be an influence, a positive influence on you. And being at Morehouse, I learned how to keep my eyes and ears open. I didn't come in trying to be the loudest. I didn't come in trying to be the smartest or like I knew everything. And I tell younger kids that I said, learn to read the room. Learn to read what's going on. Be like look around because then it allows you to be able to know where you need to implement yourself into it and how you can bring value. So when I saw that in the school, it's like, I saw who the leaders were at that time. I got around them. And then I became a leader because I knew what we needed to bring to the team. And I knew that we needed to bring a lot, at that time because it wasn't known for the athletics. We worked to keep a head coach there. We worked, what I'm saying? We went on 11 one year, Vernon. Like, you know how that feels as an athlete. You may not went on 11, but that many losses in a row, I vowed to myself, I ain't losing nothing else in life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we worked our way up to 8-8-3, and it's still a process. But being at Morehouse just, it taught me how to become a leader. It made me learn more about myself, and I think that's what college is about. College is the developmental stage of your life where you're trying to be around people that are doing positive things and shooting towards their future. That you can start learning who you are, and you start being, who am I? What am I? What am I going to bring? What do I want to do in life? And it's a lot of questions. It's not a lot of not knowing, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm. So not knowing, like same way you went from transitioning from football to
Mhm.
where you are now, was
Yeah.
there any emotional moments for you?
A whole lot of emotional moments. I think it's a roller coaster of emotions because honestly, through the journey of football, I didn't know I was going to go to the NFL, but I worked towards going to the NFL. If that makes sense. I put in the work to go to follow that dream as I got into college. And when it came, it still didn't come lightly. I got picked up a month after the draft. Even though I thought I was going to get drafted drafted in the late rounds or a free agent, I got picked up a month after the draft. So that whole month was an emotional storm of not knowing what I want to do after college, knowing I was going to graduate, knowing that, I was going to be on my own, parents making sure I knew that, no longer on the insurance, no longer, how you going to pay for this, how you going to pay for that. And graduation was coming, which is a positive, because I graduated from college. But that emotions of not knowing and feeling like, my my future is in somebody else's hands. No matter how much work I put into it, how much I put into it, it was still in somebody else's hands. And that emotion right there is a place where you have to learn to try to be able to control what you can control. And that's one of the hardest challenges in this world. When you want something so bad, but you can't obtain it, even though you put the work into it. So that emotion carried over to where finally when I, had opportunity to get signed by Minnesota Vikings, Denny Green, may he rest in peace. It was like a dream come true, but the work just didn't stop there. So I'm just saying, like, the emotions carry all the way. And I think the biggest thing with emotions is learning how to control those emotions and learn how to use them as good and not for they to deteriorate your life or make you make bad decisions. So emotions always carried on, Vernon. Always. Still going to this day.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But that's the discipline and the, I guess, I say discipline and what
Work.
just, yeah, work,
It's like
faith.
worked on, like being able to have those, feel those emotions, but then learning to be able to articulate them and be able to have people you can talk to in a support group that can help keep you grounded or lift you up when you need to be lifted up.
Yeah, no, that's big, man. That's powerful. Were there any so where you are now,
Mhm.
did any particular acting class or instructor make you think, okay, acting might be my next thing, might be my next role, my next caller?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was any acting coach that made me feel. I think there was something that kinda in me, but it still takes a long time. I say the phrase that I think acting probably saved my life. I was coming out of football, we were at a time, I think at the time, mental health wasn't priority. It wasn't spoken about. A lot of things we were talking about therapy, even through our union or NFLPA and everything, therapists weren't in the play when I came out of the NFL. And we just hear all the horror stories, unfortunately, about how, athletes transition the period. And that's what I was going through. And I had a horror, I was like my rock bottom going through my transitional period. A lot of people don't know that 30 years old, football being taken away, you still want it. And you still want it. You're still trying every door you possibly can get into to try to get on that field again because you worked so hard to get there. And now it's being shut on you. And you're like, what do I do now? You're standing on the porch looking at the door like, okay, what do I do? It's like one of those sad movies. You turn around, you look, and you don't know which way to go, left or right. That's kind of how I felt at that time. I was around some other people speaking on the panel that were actors, and I saw it. And I was like, damn, just speaking to them, they were black men, and I was like, I'm interested in that. What's that? I tried so many different things, personal training. I was doing marketing. I didn't want to go back to school. My degree was in physical therapy, but I had to go get my master's in that. But I didn't want to, I wasn't looking towards that. I started eventually on the journey led me to taking acting classes. And in acting classes, it allowed me to have to use that substitution from the anger that I had from the game, not getting the gratification of getting the game where I wanted it. You know what I mean? Like playing the game where I wanted, being on the team where I wanted, getting all the games, being active roster more than just being on practice squad. Like acting allowed me, I was angry when I left from playing football. I was angry, I was bitter, I didn't know, and I was rock bottom, and I didn't have no money in my pocket. Straight up. It's just how it was. I was part of that real estate crash and poor decisions. And acting allowed me to be able to go in there and relinquish some of those feelings that I were having. But when I say that, it's substituting that into a character. If a character is angry, the character is sad, I'm able to let go of some of those feelings through the truth of that character. And that helped me so much where I wasn't carrying that burden and carrying that anger and that bitterness in my everyday life. Because you notice, Vernon, we can't walk around as angry black men. We 6'4", 50 pounds, muscular. We can't walk around like that. We got to put a smile on our face half the time when we don't even want to smile. Acting and therapy in general for anybody out there is not just acting. Use it. Use it because you need to be able to know who your authentic self is. You need to be your true self. And you need how to be able to know how to conduct yourself in this world because this world is so much and we carry so much on our shoulders.
Yeah, no, no, you're right. And a lot of times, man, I think about this whole craft, man, as I've gotten into it, and I've been
Yeah,
doing it for about almost 6 years now, and
yeah,
the more I do it, the better I get. And it's like anything else, you're working on the craft, and you're learning more about yourself in every project that you take on. But I don't know if it should be called acting because, like you said, the anger and all that thing, you learn to use it in your work. 'Cause, I mean, it's real, you know what I'm saying? It ain't really like acting really. It's like, once you understand, it's like, this shit is real. Like,
it's real.
this is real. Like, you know
People
what
are
I'm saying?
acting. Yeah, people are acting in their everyday life. When we when we doing those things, we ain't no longer acting no more. That's like the truest you possibly can be, whatever situation that character is in.
Man, I'm telling you, man, it's a special thing. It's a beautiful thing as you continue to stay consistent at it. And a lot of times too, people I get a lot of people come to me and they want to do this, they want to do that. And you probably get the same thing. You probably get a lot of athletes coming to you. How can I do this? How can I be in this? I want to be a part of what you're a part of, right?
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? But they don't see the work that you doing. Like you just said, you took an acting class. You auditioned. You've been a part of, Lucifer, Supergirl, all these different genres and projects, but you putting in the work, my man. Like you boots on the ground. You in the right spaces. You hang around the barbershop long enough, you're gonna eventually get a haircut, right? You doing that work, man. Is there a particular project that you may have been most excited about? Or, maybe you approached the project, you had doubt. You like, maybe I won't get this, you know? excited about it, but maybe I
Yeah,
won't get. You ever had a moment like that?
I think I've had multiple moments like that, man. You know, and you could test it. And I think people don't understand this that going to those audition rooms, that's a whole nother beast. You know, like we can be, it's like we can play in front of 60,000, 100,000 people, get out there in the field. But going to audition room, it's just on you. And the preparation that you had to put in, learning the lines, learning how you want to present the lines, and then going there and presenting in front of somebody. You know, I had just recently had a go in audition, like go in. We, since COVID, we haven't really been going into the room for auditions. And I was like, it's been over 5 years since I've done that. Now I'm more seasoned, but I remember, just going in, it's self-doubt already going into the room sometimes that you have to learn to overcome. We talked about emotion. You had to learn to use this nervousness. In football, we nervous, first hit, we in the game. You know what I'm saying? Like you nervous until you get your first hit, then you're like, okay, I'm locked in. Acting, you don't have that first hit. You go up there. I mean, it's times I'll be in all this room, legs shaking. I ain't even using my real voice at the beginning just because the nerves are, were taking over. And as with time, in that process, it starts to become more, you just become more accustomed to it and you know how it is. So I've had a lot of shows, going like, well, dang, do I belong here? Or am I good enough to be here? I had moments that earlier in my career. And then later on, it's like, I'm looking at, Jurassic World, watching Chris Pratt, amazing actor, biggest set I've ever been on, playing as control room security guard, best security guard ever. Should have got an Oscar for it. I couldn't keep anybody out this control room as a security guard, but I'm watching him, and that's and even as we did as players, I'm watching him like I can do that. I can play that lead. At some point in my career, I'm going to play a lead like that. And I've seen actors, if you don't feel that way, then you're in the wrong business. If you're not looking and saying, I can do that, not in an envious way, not in a jealous way, but in a way of just like in admiration, like I can do that and I want that. And that was the first time that I kind of felt as though like, okay, I can do this and acting is for me. I can do this. And then it went on from, Get Shorty playing on that, Get Shorty and being around some amazing actors, Chris O'Dowd, Ray Romano, and, and some other like castmates. And then leading to Power, where literally sitting in the alley in episode 2 of season 1. And it's just me, my character Diamond, and Tommy, Joseph Secor. And he did the Tommy eyebrow, raised it up like this during the scene. I almost lost it because in my mind, I was like, I'm on Power. It was the first realization, like I'm on this show that I've been such a fan of that we've all watched for years. And I'm like, now I'm on it and a main character on it. And it was like, now you got to own it and walk in that light. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's dope, man. That's a. I know that was a special moment for you, where when you had that realization that, hey, I'm actually on it, because it's a dream, man. I mean, you know, you done had 2 dreams. It's special, and the great thing about it, Ike, is that you just getting started.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just getting started. The future is bright. As long as you keep doing, got that momentum, the future is bright. And no, that's just what I feel like a lot of people need to hear that, because, and another thing too, I was, you know a lot of people in the space now. I know I've met a lot of people, and I had to tell one of my buddies, like, just because I know you, it doesn't. Deion, Deion Taylor. Deion Taylor. So I had Deion on, and yeah, and I was telling him, I was like, D, look, when I came to you, I never asked you for anything. You know, I never want anything for you. Yeah, I know what my intent is. I know what my goal is, and I know what I have to do if I want something. I got to put the work in.
Mhm.
Can't nobody stop hard work.
Right.
But if you could go back and tell yourself, your 22-year-old self, one thing, whether it's football, life, acting, whatever it is, what would you tell them?
It's broad. I was, yeah, 22. 22, I was with the Vikings. I finally got that. I go from that, finally got signed as a free agent. I really don't know what I would like, because I look at it, it's kind of everybody's journey is their journey. And you have to live that journey. But I think I would just tell myself that, be patient and just keep working to be the best person that I can be.
Mhm.
Keep telling him to be the best person he possibly can be. And that means work on himself. Continue to put the work in on himself, physically, mentally, health wise, and good things will come. In this world, we want things when we want it. We're in a gratification world, like right now. We want it right now. And again, people don't understand what goes behind it to obtain the building these things, and it had a foundation. A lot of things you may want, you're not ready for. Like the process, like people like come tell us like, hey, I want to be an actor. I want to be on this, on this. How can I be on the show? Man, when that camera get in your face, you might not be ready for that. You're not ready to learn these lines and be able to go in there and do that. Like you got to put the work in and go. That's why the acting class is important. That's why the process is important. That's why kids aren't going to play in the NFL out of high school. They're not ready yet. It's a process still to it. You know what I mean? So it's it's still a process. And I think, man, trust the journey, trust the process, man, and be willing to put the work in, as you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, putting the work in. Yep, that's all it is, putting that work in. That's very, very important, man. You couldn't have said it any better. Like, I wanna remind everyone that they can get this episode, every episode that I've done, sent to their phone automatically. All they have to do is hit that button, Apple and Spotify, and follow us on YouTube as well. Diamond is a complex, imposing character, Ike. How do you balance showing his strength and his vulnerability?
A great question. I think, honestly, in my everyday life, it's a balance. And I
Mhm.
think, what helped me is I learned that vulnerability is a strength by knowing that knowing when you can be vulnerable and allowing it to happen is also a strength. The kid, kids, the kid get angry and start crying, like that, and they just they start wanting to fight you, the random rage. That was their vulnerability and anger, trying to hold that in at the time and let it out. But as an adult, it's just like, it's okay to be vulnerable, but at the same time, by being able to be that vulnerable, I'm also showing how strong I am and a presence. Diamond, I relate to Diamond very much so, and some of it has to do with being able to transition from football into acting, or transition that people have in life. Diamond was trying to transition initially, coming out of prison, dealing with morals and values, trying to transition, but not living the street life behind and trying to turn into a normal life. But you can't have a foot on each side, not in that type of game. So it's also learning how to be able to be your true self. And I think Diamond was just a character that was multifaceted in just what he was trying to do. And I think some people related to him because people feel that way. People feel like I want to change, but if I don't go all in into changing, then I'm just going to be going back to my default, which is back there, for Diamond was back there in the streets, in the game, and find his thrill into that. And eventually just letting go. And sometimes different challenges will just push you into, going into the other side. And I think Diamond is starting to face that, especially in season 3. You're starting to see him like he's all in. He's all in. He's back to his old self. And he is, the game is calling him, the power is calling him, point intended. And it just becomes, a very exciting journey to see how he interacts with his brother and with Tommy, with the Tommy character and everybody else involved.
But were there a lot of things that you could relate to that was relatable between you and Diamond?
Yeah, a whole lot. Like you said, the vulnerability, the strength, learning to transition, whether you're going to, how you want to be in, like we talked about, like there's the other side of me, where, the intense side, and even in class, you learn how you perceive. I didn't realize, people walk past like, man, why you look so mean? I'm like, man, I'm good. I'm not, I'm not even, like, look at me, like I didn't think I was, but learning that presence is already there in a sense and learning how to use it on screen has been an art that I've, learned and then learned to use. And I think it goes into where the character, where you look at Diamond, he may be looking, he may be smiling on the inside, but his face just looking like, like, I'll jump on you in a second.
Yeah.
Um, it's learning to use that, but I relate so much well to him just because I think there's a lot of me inside, like, just being this person of wanting to be able to the intense side, but not using it. Like I said, talking around, walking around, can't be angry out here in these streets or be confrontational because of things that come out. Well, that character allows me to do those things. It allows me to use that outlet. And it's right. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And you probably felt this too, Ike, when you spend so much time with this character, man. People don't understand this. So you take this character off the page, right? And you spend so much time with them, and all the things, the little details of characteristics and just everything you put into this character. You become this character when the cameras are rolling, right?
Mhm.
It feels good to be this character, to play. How do you take yourself away from that? Because you can get so caught up as an actor where you might not want to leave this world, this space, because you're becoming this character that you created.
I found it kind of, for me, a little easier. I see some people are like method actors. They got to stay into it the whole time. Maybe because Diamond was just kind of very relatable. But I think what also going to help, and like a lot of things we go back to sports, in football, it's like on the field, I'm talking about could be a totally different person on the field. Like, being on the defense side of the ball, it's like I'm going after the ball, I'm hitting whoever's around me. I'm hitting you so hard you ain't gonna come back on this side again. Mindset, So and transferring that, but then we get off the field, okay, a whole nother person. So for me with Diamond, I think, I'm engulfed in the character. But for me, it was just like, okay, that's still the character. And it also gives me the opportunity to blame everything on Diamond. Isaac didn't do that. Diamond did
Yeah.
that. So it gives me an out. But I think it's just working, the process of doing it. I look forward to playing a character that keeps me so into it. Because you know this. And even in sports, anybody, you hit it in a character when you do need a moment after, like, or in an audition or in a scene where it's so strong and intense that's like, give me 10 seconds afterwards so I can get back and, release it, because I am so into this and you feel it. And it's like it's an out of body experience to where, like, I don't even know what happened. Like that play that that you may catch the run out in front, you run around, look up, catch the ball, and then so it's touchdown. You're like, boom. It happened so fast because the preparation was so good and you were so intense involved into it that you couldn't even tell you what happened. Couldn't say what happened. And sometimes we have scenes like that as well. And it feels good, honestly. Look for that.
Yeah, it does. It's like a
Yeah.
high. You can't get off of it.
Yeah.
It's a crazy thing, man. Were there any scenes from the past season that were most challenging for you? Maybe physically, emotionally?
Well, in this season here, our final season when we were filming that, it's probably like around maybe our 8th episode, somewhere around there. Somewhere around there. My father had passed, and I was dealing with that, but I didn't want to, and I had to shoot that day. I mean, one of the days right when he was kind of passed, and I didn't want to go to work. Like I didn't want to film. Um, And people need to understand that, like, they see these on that, but you don't want to always, like any job, you're not always feeling it. You may feel sick. You may feel like, I'm just not feeling it today. My stomach hurt or whatever, head hurt. But there's no substitutes in this, like sports, or there's no somebody can cover for you in acting. There's too many parts that already moved. Like, you can't call off that day unless you just can't perform at all. So in this day, you know, I went into work. It was a strong scene to play with my brother, Chris Lofton, who plays Jannard. And I didn't tell him. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell anybody on set that, what I was dealing with, because I didn't want them to have to deal with it too. You know, when people have to deal with the condolences like that, they don't know how to respond to you. And then they kind of walk around and tiptoe around you, and they don't know what to say. I didn't want them to have to deal with it because I know that would have changed the dynamic and the energy of the set. I didn't tell Chris. I didn't tell him. We shot the scene, and there's times where in between takes, I'm just like, I'm kind of out of it. And, we'll come back and I get back into the scene. And I told him afterwards, and I'll tell people afterwards. So then now it doesn't affect him. It won't affect him in this scene. It won't affect how everybody's the energy around. So we can still have the best work that we possibly can have that day. It's I think, again, learning that through life, the work you put in. And I know what my father would have wanted me to do. He would have said, go to work and do it and put your best foot forward and do your best job doing it. And that's all. I changed that to change emotions into, I'm doing this for pops, type of thing. And
Yeah,
so,
and I'm
yeah,
sure you channel that emotion too, and
yeah,
use it in your work. A lot of times we don't realize, man, that when we do lose people that we're super close to, it's like it's a blessing to us, because now it's a gift that they're giving to us that we can use in whatever it is that we're doing, especially for you in your space. Um, because I use my family all the time, man.
me too, brother. You know my heart goes out. You know that. You know,
Yeah, I
yeah,
appreciate it.
you know that.
Yeah, I know the feeling, man. I know the
Yeah,
feeling.
I know, and I'm, I was there. I reached out to you about that because that hurt.
Yeah.
That hurt as well. So
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, man.
shout out
Um, is there anybody who's in the Force cast that you have the most fun with on set? You get along with?
everybody, man. Like, we really have a great cast, like a great cast, and we all get along. Um, Even if there's like some type of rift or some of that because of the scene, it's really just because of the passion that we have for these characters. And like, okay, what this character would do, but we have fun, man. Like, Sometimes there's a little music playing in between, takes during the setup, whether it's between myself and, no matter what the dynamic is on the scene, in between takes, we joking a little bit, we having a good time, we talking, we sharing stories about each other's lives. We still have group chats right now on the phone where we're just talking and just wishing the best for each other. And shout out to Joseph Zakor who plays Tom because he set the tone for it when we came into it. Because we were trying to first season we were trying to develop these characters. We didn't know who these characters were. It was the first time. So
Yeah.
it's not like going in and okay, this is how Diamond. It's like I'm trying to find who Diamond is. Chris is trying to find who Jannard is, and Shane with Vic, and and everybody. We're all trying to do this. So to see going to see through the third season, now we in these characters. We locked in. Like you can't. We walking on set like I know who this character is. I know what he's gonna do. Nah, he ain't with that, and bringing it into the scenes. And we literally have an amazing cast and crew, man. Everybody come on board. We have a no asshole policy, brother. No, don't bring that negative energy on set. I don't care. Your guest star. Look, this is how we operate. So just abide by these rules, and you'll be fine. Straight up.
That's dope, man. It's interesting how we, at one point we're talking about football, but now we sitting here talking about films and scripts
Yeah,
and characters. Man, that's
yeah.
a crazy thing, man. I'm just having a moment right now because it's a beautiful thing to be able to have
The
the
journey, man. Shit. You remember when we saw each other leaving auditions? Like, I'm like, okay. So, Vernon, you okay? Yeah, you gonna do? All right. And wish
No,
you the
that's
best of
dope.
luck. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we really root for each other. Yeah, we want the role, but it's like, go in there, do your thing, man. It's like whoever's the best fit for the roles is what it is. That's what you learn. You learn in this game. It's like, you just all you can do is do you, and what's for you is for you. And that's one of the hardest things, really, lessons. It's also hard to receive it, but that's what keeps us sane. What's for me is for me. As long as I felt like I went in the room and did the best I could do and did, shine the best way I can, that's all I can do. Again, it's out of my hands. So let me move on, to something else. What's the next project? What's the next thing? Oh, Vernon got that role? Dope. Good for him. You know what I mean? That's what I'm talking about. Then we know, like you mentioned with Deion Taylor before, you said, I've never asked anything like that, but you put the work in. Eventually, you're going to meet Deion to what level he's on. So now it's like, okay, hey, Vernon, come get in this role, or vice versa. You know what I mean? Like, Vernon, Deion, I need you for this, to direct this show or produce. And that's the
Yeah.
same way in this game. Like, we going to work together at some point. We going to keep rooting for
One
each other.
time.
We going to work together. We're going to do
Yeah.
something and reach out like, hey, Vernon, what's up? And, you want people to speak your name in rooms, in a great way, in rooms that you're not present in. And that says
Yes.
a lot about your integrity, who you are as a person, who you are, who I am. And that's what we continue to ride the wave on.
Yeah, and the fun thing about being able to go from one thing to the next
Yeah.
is that people don't take you serious at first because they're like, okay, a football player trying to be an
Yeah.
actor,
Right.
this and that.
Right.
But the one who continues to keep going and they end it, like I tell everybody, I'm here to stay. I'm not here to leave.
Yeah.
You gonna see because I'm gonna keep showing up. I'm gonna be in your face, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's the beautiful thing about it all, man.
Yeah.
Because I love when being the underdog and people don't take me serious because I, I know the essence of consistency and being repetitive. So it's just it all comes together and it's just beautiful, man.
You know what you know where you came from.
Yeah, no, absolutely, that's right. Let me ask you this question because this is I don't know how maybe I'm not gonna say it's emotional for you, but you've been doing this, and now the final season is about to be here with force, right? What's the one thing you hope the fans will remember about Diamond's journey?
Ah, man, that's a good one. I want them just. I mean, right now, first off, I love the fans. Is no fans like Power Universe fans.
Hmm.
They've told us. I remember first season they told us like, "Hey, your life's gonna change after this." And I was like, "Okay, I play football. I understand what it is." No, this is different. This is way different. These fans are amazing, and the biggest compliment. Right. I like, and these fans come up to you and they like, no, the biggest compliment to me as an actor and for the show is that, hey man, hey Dime, he said, man, I love your acting. I love what you did with the character. I love that part. As an actor, that's the gratification you want. That's the gratification I wanted as a football player when I was trying to grind and get out there on the field and to be able to really get the play. You know what I mean? Like I want that gratification, is feeling like that. My efforts that I was putting into, all the hard work I was doing, was being seen and it was being celebrated. So to hear that, it's an amazing feeling and be a part of a great show. Yes, it's sad as hell that this show's come to an end, but it's big business. Um, it's not for anybody out there. It's not because of the numbers. It's not because the show's not doing well. We're doing it very well. One of the top shows on premium cable. Um, but it's business, studios, and everything else is gonna come to play. But with the character Diamond, I just want people to really just be able to pay attention to the love he has for his brother, despite all the negative efforts. They look at just his battle, his internal battle, and trying to be, the best person he can be in some sense, but the antagonizing of just him being involved in those streets and learning how to, just be. I just want to be empathetic to, how he has to move, how he's moving, and also learn some from his mistakes. Some of the
Mhm,
people, they always say the people that you love the most will be the fastest one to bring you down, and the
mhm.
company. So he made a decision, he stood by it, and and that's what he continues to do. And he continues to rock and roll season 3. It's a crazy good journey, man. I'm really excited for the fans. We had them wait way too long. Well, not me. But the fans been waiting way too long. So I'm really excited about the fans be able to see the show.
That's powerful. Without spoiling anything at all, man, what excites you the most about this final chapter of Force?
I think what excites me the most is that there's so much going on. There's so many stories to follow in this from each character that I think is going to be a treat to the fans. That they be like, hold on, wait a minute, what's this going on? Okay, what's going on? And then action, action, action. You know what I mean? It's so much that it's going to pull on people. People are going to be upset that they had to wait a week to watch the next episode because it's going to leave them hanging on each episode, and it's coming in from the jump. It's not like it's got to be built up, anything like this, coming in from the jump. So I'm excited for these fans to see it. I'm excited to see it. So yeah, man, November 7th, it's going down.
Man, it's gonna be crazy, man. Looking at the trailer. The trailer teases street war in Chicago, pressure from the feds, conflict within alliances. I
Yeah,
mean, like, man, there's gonna be so much going on, man. I know you're super excited, man. I can't wait to, you know, see everything that's going on. What's one twist of revelation you hope fans don't see coming? One twist of revelation.
it's a whole lot of revelations. I think it's time for them to just really. I think just seeing Tommy's journey, like Tommy is very hungry for power and takeover.
Mhm.
What does he have to do to be able to make that happen? Well, who does he have to lose? Who does he have to gain? What decisions he has to make in this moment? And it goes for every character. What decisions they have to make? And I think those are going to be the ones, the twists that are going to allow the audience and the fans and even me to be able to look at like, wow, that's what's happening. Okay, what? It's like it's going to be a lot of like just questions that we answered as well too. But it's gonna be a good ride, man. It's the ride of, it's the ride of Tommy. It's the ride of, Diamond, Jannard, and every character on it. Power Book 4 Force, man. It's been an amazing opportunity, a blessing. And I think, I'm just glad that we're being celebrated by the fans. And I look forward to watching.
What's one message or emotional takeaway you hope audiences can walk away with when the series concludes?
We came, we saw, we conquered. You know, I think we popped in this game with the new show, gave the fans what they wanted, and I hope they walk away with it like that was a hell of a series. That was a hell of a series, and those were some amazing actors and characters.
What's your favorite way to decompress when it's all said and when you walk away from from just anything, whether it
Yeah,
was I can go back. I can say, okay, wait, maybe you an off day with sports
yeah.
from a game, right? Maybe an off day from maybe you have an off day with acting, right? How do you decompress? By reading, listening to music, or what?
Sitting in silence. I like to just be able to sit in solitude for a second and decompress it that way. Because there's always so much noise around us, you know what I mean? So many different things that pull you in, even when you think about it, from social media to response and comments you know, and sitting in silence allows me to listen to what I call my angels, listen to them, listen to, kind of just be able to like relax and release, count down, meditation always helps because I mean, my life has changed and it's learning how to manage that now in a different light, but not just manage me, but manage the people around me as well, because it's changed for them as well too. So it's a blessing. But sitting in silence to me allows me to just kind of quiet everything down, and then that's when I do
Mhm.
my best thinking. So that'll be it. That's my decompression though.
It's crazy you say that because whenever I'm home, I've been in my house for 2 years now, my new house. TV's never been on, never turned the TV on. It's just my way of going around, coming up with creativity and just, staying away from all the noise, no news, no
Yeah,
negativity, man. In silence, man. That's powerful, man, when you could be in silence like that.
it is, bro. It's
It
noise.
really is. It really is. If Diamond had a playlist, what 3 songs on that playlist?
Diamond had a playlist on there. Al Green, Love and Happiness. Rick Ross, Jay Z, Fuck with Me, I got it. Um, and shit, 50 cents. 50 cents, Jeremiah, Dirk, Money, Powder, and Power. Gotta play the theme song.
Mhm. You have dinner with 3 people, dead or alive. Who's at the table?
In this climate, especially right now, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X for sure. Uh, and then who else I want? Michael Jackson.
What's the first question you're gonna ask him?
What we need to do now? Look, look, hey, what do we need to do now? Like it still ain't fixed, y'all. It still ain't fixed. What do we need to do now? I didn't tell him.
Oh, man.
Give us the game plan. Let's work together. Give us the game plan, and that way we get them all aspects, music. You know what I'm saying? All the way into the game plan, man. It's not fixed. What do we need to do?
If time and budget were no ma weren't if time and budget wasn't an obstacle, what's the skill or hobby you love to master?
That's a good one. Right now, golf, golf, and then honestly, for me, a form of martial arts. I just always been fascinated with martial arts, and you see those videos, you see these men over middle age, they just doing some little things there and whooping up on people. You know what I'm saying? But those two, yeah, right. And just being able to have that in your pocket for somebody just kind of touch you the wrong way, just kind of bend their wrist to make them like, hey, all right, stand back. And golf, just golf. 'Cause, look, golf is just a fun sport to me right now, man. It's so tedious, and there's so many different things that go into it. But it's such a beautiful game to be able to, one part to kind of get away, solitude, but be around like friends, like be around people, build new relationships in the capacity of playing a game. So I enjoy that, and I think that's one of the things right now at this stage in my life. I just love good people and fellowship. I love being around good people and just having cool times, environments, and having conversation like we having now.
No, that's fire. What's one thing most people be surprised to know about learning about Isaac Keys off camera?
Um, I think it's always a treat to people to understand is how kind of silly I am, and that I love to kind of like just laugh. I love to find things in laughter. When people realize, like I've gotten text recently, friends are saying like, "Hey man, I'm sitting back here thinking," he's like, "No, you really are funny. You like one of the funniest people that I know." And I'm like, "Really?" And he's like, "I know a lot of funny people." And it's not like I from a group of friends we always crack jokes, whether it was just joning on one another or just things happen, silly guys. And sometimes, like I said, we walk around, people don't realize that about me, but I love to laugh, and I do jokes underneath my breath. Sometimes people don't hear it. And so, I think that's one of the treat that people will learn to know about me.
Tell us about your new book. You got a new book coming out.
Yeah. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Yes, I have a new book coming out. Should be dropping probably for pre-sales in the next 3 weeks. It's called The Grind Don't Stop, It Just Changes. I decided to do this book because as we done this interview, we can only talk about it so much and talk about the journey, but little tidbits that I've dropped, and people always ask, how'd you make it to the NFL? How'd you get into acting? Well, there's a story behind all of that. And it was, me divulging information and me being vulnerable and tapping into that and sharing my story. I always say, Vernon, you have a great, amazing story as well, but it's, it's about whether you're willing to tell your story or not. And I felt at this point in my life, it was time for me to tell just my journey from adolescence to present day, from all answering all the questions that people always kind of have about this journey, but really digging in deep and answering some questions for myself. learning who I am, learning more about myself, why I am, become the person I am, and just some of the things I look back on that I'm like, wow, I did that. It really does feel like a story, but it's the truth. So again, it's putting the story, you know what I'm saying, story to the glory. And I just hope everybody can really check it out, and I hope it helps them in some way, you know, just being able to be relatable. And I really tap into some things that, I don't think most people want to talk about. I mean, I go all the way back to Vernon talking about my first time, like that, those type of things, first time doing this, first time doing that. Tapping into, those childhood times of kind of having, a little street activity, and, but just turning from my story or my angles, so you'll be able to see how I can relate to Diamond in some aspects and, other things. But yeah, I'm excited about it, man. I'm also a little scared about it too, because it's the most I've ever opened up to anybody.
Nah, that's dope, man. A lot of people will get a lot from that, I'm sure. I'm excited about it. I can't wait to read it, man. I thank you for doing that. I know time is running out. I know you got to go, but I'm gonna give me like one more minute with you. Rapid fire. You have to choose one. Wire or Sopranos?
Say it again.
The Wire or Sopranos?
I say it again. The Wire. I'm choosing. Yeah.
Founder of Uber or Airbnb?
Say it again. Say that part again.
Founder of Uber or Airbnb?
Airbnb.
Okay, all right. If you could play with one of these guys, would it be Ray Lewis or Patrick Willis?
Ray Lewis. Shout out to Ray Lewis.
Coffee or energy drink?
Coffee.
Arizona or Atlanta?
I'm laughing. I got ties to both, man. But
come on, man. Hey, I had to throw it in there, man. Come on, man.
Come on. Hey, peace up. H not that. Are you Atlanta all day? I'll go. I'll sneak that in.
Tyson or Mayweather?
Tyson.
Would you rather? This is gonna be a tough one. I want to see what you're gonna say. Would you rather have a championship and make it 50 million, or no championship and make it 300 million?
I'm taking the 300 million.
My man.
Give me the money.
Hey, I like that, man. That's what's up. Hey, you got to be real, man. That's a question, man. That's a deep question right there.
Especially when you don't have 300 million in your pocket right now. You're like, hey, well, you know what? You asking me, the football left me already. You asking me now?
Hey, even if I was playing, I might take that 300 million, bro. Hey,
for sure.
Get my money and go.
Get my money, man. I go buy me a championship ring, man.
Hey, Ike, man, look, man, I know you got stuff to do. I appreciate you coming on Next Roll, man. We enjoyed you. Looking forward to this episode to come out. I know the people are going to love it.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me, bro. And congratulations again, man. It's a blessing. I'm glad you're doing this, brother. Anything for me, you got it.
Okay, I appreciate you, bro.
All right.
Welcome to the next row.